channel. Today is a really beautiful day in San Diego. It's raining and storming, and that is like my favorite weather ever. So I was super motivated to jump on and do the BookTube Newbie Tag, since I'm here in the BookTube community and to the BookTube space. So I just wanted to jump on and give you guys a little background about me and who I am and what you can expect to see for my channel. So I'm super excited to be doing this. I think these are really fun to watch and just answer questions and talk about. So let's get started. Okay, so I do have the questions here in front of me on my iPad just to make it like easier because I'm using my phone to film. So forgive me if I'm like looking down and just like referring to it a little bit. Okay, so the first question is, why did you start this channel? So I started this channel because I'm a big introvert. I'm a huge introvert. I love to be at home. And so because of that, it's really tough for me to find people who want to share my love of reading with me. My friend group is very small, and unfortunately none of my friends are readers, so at least like not to the level that I am, because when I'm like reading and I'm really invested in a good story, I just want to talk about it all the time and like reflect on my thoughts and feelings about it. And that can be tough because I've tried to like have those conversations and people's eyes will start glazing or whatever, you know, so it's just not the same. I feel like the BookTube community is very positive, it's very collaborative. Yeah, I wanted to be a part of the space and take part in these conversations and just have some friends, like make friends who want to talk about different passions about reading. That's why I started this channel. Okay, so the next question is, what are some fun and unique things that you can bring to BookTube? I feel like for me, what people would potentially find relatable or maybe be drawn to watching my channel is that I do have adult ADHD as well as a specific learning disorder in regards to reading comprehension. So this has actually been something that I have had to work really hard at to get to the pace that I am with reading. I just feel like I'm at a place where I would love to share that with people and just kind of let people get to know the real me and what that looks like on a day where maybe my ADHD is really bad. And then on the flip side of that, I also believe that my ADHD is also what gives me so much creativity. I think I could have some really fun ideas and be really creative and lean into that different perspective and just, you know, have fun with it. One other thing I forgot to mention that I think would be a really fun thing to like bring to the BookTube space. So I worked in the biotech industry for about 8 years. I'm a lab rat. I worked in the lab the whole time. I specialize in molecular biology. So that love of science has definitely crossed over into what kind of books I tend to pick up as well. I do tend to kind of pick up some nonfiction that includes science or maybe medicine, and reading about viruses, immunology, those kind of things I find very interesting and fascinating. So in case you guys can resonate with that as well, that's definitely something that I love. Yeah, shout out to my STEM girlies out there. Okay, so the next question is, what are you most excited about for this channel? I'm most excited to make friends, but what I really like about YouTube is that people have the chance to check you out, see if they like your personality or the vibe of your channel or whatever, and they can decide if they want to stick around and follow you on your journey or not. For me, I love that because it feels very intentional. It feels like the people who are going to want to follow me care about what I have to say and care about getting to know me as a person. And I'm just honestly really excited to build a like collaborative community that's lighthearted and positive and just where we can talk about books and like obsess over books, because that's what I want to do. I think I'm also just really excited to put myself out there. This is something that I normally would not do. I've never done something like this before, and I feel like it is totally aligned with my goals of pushing myself and just wanting to grow as a person and expand my perspective, the way that I reach out to people, and it just challenges me to get outside of my comfort zone. Those are the things I'm like by far most excited about. Okay, so the next question is, why do you like reading? And honestly, I love this question because I feel like I use reading to satisfy a lot of different parts of what I'm looking for. So yeah, the escapism, big time for me. I love escaping into a book and ignoring my responsibilities. Just kidding, kind of. So I think also though, reading has definitely made me grow as a person. With every book I pick up, I feel like I've learned a little bit more about personalities I might have not understood before, situations I might have acted differently in, or just anything like that. I feel like it's definitely made me step back and reflect like what my own opinions of things are, and has challenged those. And in some cases, actually in a lot of cases, it has totally changed my mind on how I feel about things and made me a more like open-minded, well-rounded person. If there's anything that I learn from the best, I feel like it's like through another person's story, especially when it's told through their eyes. So yeah, for me, that's what I love about reading so much. It's just the growth that I get and the experience that I get from it. I feel like it has changed me fundamentally. Okay, so the next question is, what book or series got you into reading? And I love this because I was a Twilight girly through and through in middle school. Twilight got me fully into reading series. That was the first series I'd ever read, and I loved it. I was totally just engrossed in that story in that moment. At the time, it was everything, and I was there for it. Yeah, so that was a big series. So after my Twilight phase, I think I kind of went into a little bit more nonfiction. This was probably in my like early 20s, college years. I went into some nonfiction, some of the like self-help book kind of vibes. And then when I hit my like mid-20s, I actually found the ACOTAR series. And that series completely resparked my love of reading fantasy and fiction novels, and just fell back into the world of like fantasy series and all that good stuff. So ACOTAR is like a very sentimental series because that just is what sparked my passion for reading again. But I will say that since picking up that series and just the whole like Sarah J. Maas universe, my style has definitely changed. And I feel like right now, especially right now, I'm in kind of like a transitionary state, which I can like talk about later, but those are the series that really started it for me. So Twilight and ACOTAR. Okay, so the next question is, what challenges do you think starting a YouTube channel will be the hardest to overcome? Sorry, that was a long question. So being like totally honest, I do tend to struggle with consistency. So I feel like that is going to be a challenge for me, is just being consistent with filming, editing, and posting on like a structured routine. I'm gonna just try and stick to one video a week for right now and just see how I can do with that. I think I'm also gonna struggle a little bit with just like some self-doubt. I feel like overcoming some of the initial self-doubt, you know, are people gonna like me? Are people gonna find me entertaining? Do people care what I have to say? I think those are some of the main kind of like more negative thoughts that might come up and be challenging for me at times, but I'm not gonna put any pressure on myself. This is a hobby. This is a creative outlet. We're gonna keep it fun. We're gonna keep it light. So yeah. All right, so the next question is, what questions would you ask your favorite booktubers? For me, I think all of my questions are mainly about time management, and specifically like how do you balance doing the filming, editing, posting, and keeping up with like socials while also drawing boundaries for your personal life. I personally struggle with like time management and drawing boundaries because I'm very much someone who, if I have a job to do or there's a task I have to get done, I will sacrifice my home life to get that done. And I am working on that because it's so dependent on you. You know, you're in control of your own schedule, you're in control of your filming, you're in control of everything. How do you draw boundaries and how do you find the time? And the next question is, when did you start reading? So I read as a child. These were mostly the like elementary level books that I would read. So Junie B. Jones, Amelia Bedelia, A Series of Unfortunate Events, Goosebumps. I'd read some of those. I read a lot of Shel Silverstein poetry as a kid. So we had his little like Falling Up books or Where the Sidewalk Ends. And I have such fond memories of those books because like the illustration style was so unique along with the poetry. And I was just so drawn to those. But yeah, that's kind of where it started. So I read when I was younger in like elementary school. middle school with Twilight, and then nonfiction break a little bit, and then ACOTAR. So the next question is, where do you read? I pretty much read exclusively at home. So specifically, I lay on the couch like right over here, and right in front of this couch we have a window with like palm trees right outside. So I love to just like sit on the couch and read underneath the palm trees. It is such a vibe. I'll crack a window, I'll just like to listen to like the wind. Yeah, that's like my favorite place to read by far. The next question is, what kind of books do you like to read? And honestly, I'd say I'm really open to reading anything. I'm mostly a fiction girly, so I do tend to stick with like fantasy, sci-fi, romance, historical fiction, literary fiction. Also really do like some nonfiction books. I think that for nonfiction, I definitely prefer some like either medical or science-based books. So for example, I really liked The Hot Zone. I think that was by Richard Preston. That was a great book. I really like The Gene as well. I do like reading some of those and like squeaking those in there, but I'd say like the chunk of what I read is mostly fiction, fantasy. So and like some of the favorites that I have are like Beneath the Scarlet Sky and The Book Thief. Those are both historical fiction novels. They're amazing. I really loved Happy Place by Emily Henry, Yours Truly by Abby Jimenez, Red, White, and Royal Blue. I think that was by Casey McQuiston. I could be wrong. I really love The Invisible Life of Addie LaRue by V.E. Schwab. That was a fantastic read. As I mentioned before, obviously ACOTAR, that was a series that like kind of started it all for me. But I will say I'm definitely transitioning out of my like romantic-y Sarah J. Maas era and kind of switching more into like high fantasy, epic fantasy. So 2024 is like chocked full of all these really high fantasy books. So for example, I really want to read Brandon Sanderson's work this year. So I want to start with the Mistborn novels and then go into the rest of the Cosmere from there. I really want to read I think the Farseer trilogy by Robin Hobb. It's the Assassin's Apprentice book, the Greenbone saga by Fonda Lee, so the Jade War series. Honestly, I'm really excited to get into more of these like epic fantasy level books. I really want the stakes to be high. I want found family vibes. You know, I really want to see our characters like go through it and just ultimately be successful. So those are some of the books that I love to read and that I'm going to be looking forward to reading this year. So again, I just wanted to let you guys know like what you can be expecting from my channel. Book hauls is going to be a big one for sure. I'm going to be doing some like bookshelf organizing, especially once I run out of space on this little shelf right here. I'll be getting a new bookshelf and we can organize that together. Some TBRs, some monthly wrap-ups. I thought maybe doing some reading vlogs would be fun. So yeah, just doing some fun things like that to start off with, and I'm definitely open to ideas or feedback. So you know, let me know in the future if you guys want to see anything in particular. I guess now I show you guys my book collection, and it's just this little like bookcase right here. There's nothing too crazy to it. Okay, so I just wanted to show you guys really quick my little like book collection. So this is where I keep my like contemporary romance. There's a little bit of like romantic fantasy section here. We'll like ignore that. But these are most of my romance books. And then in here we have like literary and historical fiction books. And then up here we have my little like TBR jar. This is my little like monster TBR jar, so cute. Okay, and then on this side we have more of my like fantasy sci-fi books, with the exception of this section right here. So these are a little bit more of like my like hardbacks or really big paperbacks. This is more for sure of like my fantasy sci-fi section. And then at the end we have some like Harry Potter. So for like a little bit of reference, I read this series. I have not read Harry Potter yet. I haven't read any of the, pretty much all of these books in here. I'm like really excited to read and trying to get my hands on this year. But yeah, so that's my little mini book collection. I think that was pretty much it. How did I do? Did I do okay? Thank you guys so much for tuning in today. That was the BookTube Newbie Tag. I had a lot of fun answering these questions. I hope this was a really good way for you guys to just get to know me a little bit and get to know my interests, get to know a little background about me. Feel free to subscribe if you want to, no pressure. Please introduce yourself in the comments below, and I just can't wait to get started and keep putting out fun videos. Thank you guys so much for tuning in, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye.